Welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect. I'm back on the Normandy. We have completed our work on Therum, and we've recruited Dr. Liara Tassoni into our squad. So, yay, at last we have a complete team. Let's take a peek at that mission real quick. You saved Liara from a collapsing Prothean ruin, and she has joined the Normandy's crew. Hopefully her expertise will help you find the conduit before Saren. Yeah, luckily the summary doesn't actually mention our role in that collapse, but hey, we didn't bring that laser down there. There wasn't any kind of OSHA tag on there saying, warning, may collapse Prothean ruins. So, I mean, it was pretty easy to operate. I mean, I'm not even an optics expert, so I guess, I feel bad that a studyable site was destroyed, but I mean, we had to do that. I mean, we had to get her, free her out of there. But so anyway, yeah, as I was recording that last episode, I actually thought I was going to split it up into multiple parts because, I mean, Anya did. And, I just felt like it was probably long enough. But, I don't know, as we were doing it, I felt this story was moving at a pretty good clip. I mean, really, all you're doing is plowing through Gath until you reach the damsel in distress at the end. And then you rescue her and you're done. So, I mean, I guess if Therum had been sold as DLC, I'm sure people would have ranked it higher than Pinnacle Station. But not by very much. Some would even disagree with that, I bet. So, anyway, notice we have a comm terminal behind us we can open. That's because we are a spacer, and we have this unfinished background assignment still waiting. We met a homeless man named Zabaleta on the Citadel. He insisted he knew your mother before asking you to give him money. If you wanted to confirm Zabaleta's story, you could easily contact your mother using the Normandy's FTL comm room. And that's the thing we were just looking at. Also, this one's because the gases have been done. Yeah, you've discovered sufficient deposits of valuable gases. Okay, journal, thank you. I'm not sure I needed that detailed of an update, but whatever. Anyway, let's chat with Mom.
Computer, give me a real-time connection to the Dreadnought Kilimanjaro. I want to speak to my mother, XO Shepard.
Shepard speak? Oh, hi. I don't have time for a personal call right now. I'm on duty.
I love that my mom's name is Hannah. I think that's a pretty nice name.
I know what that's like. Do you remember a Lieutenant Zabaleta from the Einstein?
Ernesto? Have you heard from him? He was one of the Marines who guarded the CIC. We shared a watch. I lost track of him after there was an incident.
I've seen him here on the Citadel. Looks like he's had some hard times.
I don't doubt it. You remember the Batarian raid on Mindwar in 2170? You were in high school.
Yeah.
The Einstein's task group responded to the Mayday. The Batarians were still pulling out when the Marines hit groundside. Zabaleta was one of the first down. He was never quite the same after.
I don't understand. What happened down there?
About every abomination that a sentient being can do to another. To a slaver, a person is just another animal. And humans aren't always liked out here. We heard about corralling, culling. They'd shoot those they couldn't use, implant control devices in the skulls of those they could, without anesthetic.
He has post-traumatic stress because of what he saw?
He tried to keep working, but it rode him. He showed up drunk on duty more and more. We couldn't always cover for him. The Alliance discharged him. Everyone knew he drank because of what he'd seen down there, even if he never talked about it. Especially because he never talked about it.
For it to have affected him that deeply, he must have been a very sensitive man.
He was. Always in laughter and tears. If you see him, tell him we still worry about him. Tell him to go to the Veterans Affairs office. I have to go. But take care of yourself. You're making us proud. Kilimanjaro out.
Oh man, please tell me that I will either see her or speak to her again before the end of this series, or at least know of the Kilimanjaro and what it's up to, have access to that. That would be so great. Speak to Zabaleta in the ward's access quarter just off the Presidium to see if you can help with his drinking. So Daniel feels like a little miffed, a little bit, sad that this is a guy he doesn't know. I mean, considering how long it's been, it's been 13 years since that Mindwara incident, and here's a kindred spirit in a way, somebody who could share with him Batarian hatred, in a sense. I mean, I mean, you have to wonder if Daniel and Zabaleta had found each other. They could have helped each other in a sense. I mean, you wonder if Daniels would have been more prepared for the things he had dealt with later, and whether or not, on the other side of it, whether, Zabaleta may have ended up being not so broken. I don't know. It's interesting to think about. Anyway, let's run around and chat with everybody. Start up here, of course.
I prefer gold to silver, for my medal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
Saving my boots from burning lava is part of your job, Joker. We don't give medals to soldiers for doing their jobs.
That figures. Just get me a nice card and a cake. No coconut, though. I hate that crap. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
So I'm once again taking renegade choices because I learned little morsels of information about that. So, okay, no coconut. Good to know.
I have to go.
All right, see ya.
Thank you, Joker. What? Get down from there. No horseplay here. I see. That's too funny. So usually it's both him and Presley up on top of the table like that. That time it was just the one. I don't know why. Here's Caden. Oh, and yes, there was a time when I used to think Therum always gave you a locker unlock, but no, it's just the same. It's just grouped in with the, first landing in the Mako group unlock. Anyway, hey, Caden.
Anything you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Dr. Tassoni. Seems like a sweet girl. Easy on the eyes. I mean, if you like the bookish sort.
Just remember, Lieutenant, I saw her first.
Only by a few seconds, sir.
These two bumping chests like this, I wonder if Daniel's going to finally remember this moment.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Well, they know about the stonewalling you've had from the Council.
Those communications are classified, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. But you know the Navy grapevine. They're on your side. They're pissed about the resistance we're getting, especially from our side. I'll have a better handle on all of it when my head stops hurting. Another L2 flare-up.
Anything I can do?
No, Commander, it'll settle down. It's rough sometimes, but they spike higher than a lot of L3s. Except for you, of course. Besides, I fared a lot better than some after Kinetics was through.
It's interesting there. Caden will always refer to Shepard as an L3, even if Shepard has absolutely no innate biotic ability at all. I do only because I took Singularity as a bonus talent, but that didn't give me the ability to upgrade a bioamp. So I don't know what that makes me. I guess I'm an L3 with that, but it wouldn't necessarily be true, but I still think Caden tells you that anyway. Also, this is really weird, this one particular spot in the conversation. If you ask him this question about kinetics, it's a different response from Caden, and you don't get a certain codex entry. And I think the entry is the Life of the Biotic entry. There may be other places you can get that, but it isn't available here. And that's just really annoying to me. So yeah, if you want it, you have to pick one of these two.
You distrust them that much?
You know the records about the biotic training out on Jump Zero? They're all classified, because the Alliance made mistakes. After first contact, Kinetics was set up to track Element Zero exposures and develop implants for humans. Once we had an embassy on the Citadel, Kinetics could bring in experts instead of taking it slow.
The only experts would have to be aliens.
Dead on. Turians, actually. That's why Kinetics kept it a secret. They were afraid of what people back home would think, asking the Turians for help when we just fought a war with them.
The Asari would have been more acceptable than the Turians.
Yes, but the company didn't go through the Citadel. It would have made Earth look weak, so they discreetly hired some Turian mercenaries.
I just don't get that. I mean, just from okay, so, alright, so appearances are everything, right? But still, you don't know anything about biotics, so why on earth would you hire mercenaries, and especially on a species that isn't really renowned for its biotic abilities. I mean, do Turians have any biotics at all? I know Garrus doesn't, but isn't that a rare thing amongst them? So I don't know, it just strikes me as a bad idea.
Is there some reason we couldn't learn it on our own?
They didn't know where to start. I mean, hell, it took a couple of years to even link biotics and Ezo. Forget trying to get the kids to move stuff. They had trouble just helping them not break their own limbs. And their choice of teachers didn't help much.
Get your knuckles rapped a few times, Lieutenant?
Yeah, you could say that. Our instructor was a Turian by the name of Commander Vernus. A real hard-ass. He basically had a free pass to break us if it would turn out a decent biotic. Kind of spiraled from there, Commander.
Sounds like a classic drill instructor to me. The ones at the Macapa boot camp were brutal.
Vernus didn't just push us because it was effective training. He liked it. Anyway, this is ancient stuff. I walked it off a long time ago. I should get back to my duties, Commander. We're here to make history, not rehash it.
Yeah, methinks there's more to that story that we're not yet getting. I bet that'll come around the next time.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
And there's that codex drop. I don't remember where that is, and I have forgotten to do this. That makes it easier to find. I'll do that now. I wasn't going to go read it anyway, but one thing I do remember about that particular codex entry, Life of the Biotic, I think, is that it says that biotics, because of their ability, have ravenous appetites and a higher metabolism. I mean, when I fantasize about actually living in this world, and I read that, I'm like, I want to be a biotic. You just get to eat more. I mean, you can say, yeah, I'm only going to have a 12-ounce steak today because I'm on diet. Anyway, looks like Liara hangs out back here. Let's say hi.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
I'm just glad we got there in time.
So am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
Notice that Liara says that she's not very interesting. That's going to come up later. It'll be in this episode, but still, it's weird. But anyway, I think, and I haven't really mapped out her conversation, but I'm pretty sure Anya took one of these two. Like, I think she asked, do you like it? And she missed the codex entry, and she ended up not being able to get it at all. So it's buried up in here. I don't remember from here where you have to go, but anyway.
Sounds dangerous. And lonely.
Sometimes I would run afoul of indigenous life forms or stumble across a small band of mercenaries or privateers, but I was always careful. Until the Geth followed me to Artemis Tau, I never found myself in any situation my biotics could not handle. As for the solitude, well, that is one aspect that most appealed to me. Sometimes I just need to get away from other people.
You don't like other people?
I suppose it comes from being a matriarch's daughter. People expected me to follow in Benezia's footsteps. They wanted me to become a leader of our people. Matriarchs guide their followers into the future. They seek the truth of what is yet to come. Maybe that's why I became so interested in the secrets of the past. It sounds so foolish when I say it out loud. It sounds like I became an archaeologist simply to spite Benezia.
All children rebel against their parents. It's a natural part of growing up.
Aha, you share the wisdom of the matriarch, Shepard. That is exactly what Benezia said when I told her of my decision. But there was more to it than that. I felt drawn to the past. The Protheans were these wondrous, mysterious figures. I wanted to know everything about them. That is why I find you so fascinating. You were marked by the beacon on Eden Prime. You were touched by working Prothean technology.
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
What? No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to offend you, Shepard. I only meant that you would be an interesting specimen for an in-depth study. No, that's even worse.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Joking? Oh, by the goddess, how could I be so dense? You must think I am a complete and utter fool. Now you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
We actually picked the term partner on purpose. It was genderless in a sense. So I really don't want to use father. It's interesting to me, a species that says male and female have no meaning for us would still pick, a specific pronoun and refer to their offspring as daughters. I mean, is that convenience, or is that because they really look and act much more like human females than not? I don't know. Also, this is a really silly question, so no.
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Why agree to the union if she didn't want any children?
I cannot answer that. This is all speculation on my part. It is possible she wanted to be part of my life, but something happened to her before she had the chance. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Alright, so, I mean, we've learned a lot about the Asari there, which is really cool. And you would think that coming into this spot, because we'd been warned earlier that, we're going to be the ones that have to tell her about Benezia's passing and our involvement in it. And isn't that going to suck? And you think this is where you do it, but she actually already knows, so.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
Benezia was swept up in events beyond her control and lost herself. She fell under the spell of indoctrination and became part of the very thing she wanted to stop. But I will remember and honor how she lived, not how she died. My mother was strong, kind, and beautiful, and now she is gone.
Are you going to be okay?
You are kind to ask, Shepard. I do miss her, and I grieve for what happened to her. But I will not let my grief interfere with what we are trying to accomplish.
I like Liara.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
You have to imagine that that her, finding the news, whether it was from us or from that terminal she's been using, would have been quite distressing. But with that scene, we don't get to see. Anyway, some more codex drop there. The culture one drops, the government one drops, and the Prothean beacon, she mentions that, drops. I don't think there's anything here worth my attention at the moment, so we'll move on. Alright, next up is Rex.
What do you want, Shepard?
Why did you become a mercenary?
Lots of reasons.
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
What happened?
I was betrayed. I was head of a small tribe. We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight. Turians, Solarians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting. I wanted him to stop leading the tribes astray. But he couldn't understand how much things had changed. We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation. And for a while, we were getting through. Some of the tribes started coming around.
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes, a meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from, and where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
It sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well, there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
Jared was your father?
He was. Until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal. His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly. I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left, and that's why I'll never go back.
That's a somewhat dramatic way to deal with daddy issues. And by the way, I haven't really mentioned this before, but he's not the first squad mate of ours to have daddy issues, right? Didn't Garrus in the last round tell us that he was CSEC man you know, to the bone or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, there's a new entry here now under the investigate option.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
You trying to make me cry, Shepard? I've got some unfinished business with my family, but that's all.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
What's so important about this armor?
It's a relic. Useless, really. But it was worn by 5 generations of my family before the war. It's rightfully mine. Originally, it was taken by the Turian military. We weren't allowed armor or weapons after the war. Now, it's in the hands of Ton Actus, a Turian scum who collects relics from the war. He's made millions selling Krogan artifacts that were stolen from my people. He's got several bases where he stores his goods, all fortified and guarded. I just don't know which base has my family's armor.
Just tell me where to start looking.
I'll upload the data to your nav system. But Commander, I want to be there when you find him.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
And indeed, we just got a new assignment out of that. Rex family armor. After talking to Rex, you learn that he's looking for his family's ceremonial armor. It was taken by the Turians after the Krogan rebellion. Now a profiteer named Ton Actus has it. Find the Turian who stole Rex's family armor. He's hiding at a base somewhere in the Argos Row cluster. So not only do my squad mates have daddy issues, they appear to have Turian issues as well. Let's hope Garrus doesn't have Turian issues. I'm going to deal with equipment near the end of this. So let's move on to Ashley next. Hello, Ashley.
Oh, before I go, you said you're serving with Commander Shepard now? We saw him on the news here. He's cute. Later, sis.
Tell me you didn't hear that.
So once again, we are taking a, this is a study, this is a conversation path I have studied somewhat carefully, and I know all the places where you can break up with Ashley in a sense, or at least at the very least close the relationship possibility with her. This renegade right here is a really quick way to do it. Not only does it exit the conversation, but it cuts off the romance. And once a romance is cut off in this game, it's over. It's really gone. You can't ever recover it from that. I mean, you can't get it back. So we're going to continue to basically look, how renegade can we be with Ashley and not screw it up?
Your sister, I assume?
Until I get home and kill her. That's Sarah, the youngest. Surprised to see you here, sir. Thought you'd be chatting up, what's her name? Tassoni?
Alright, so if you tell her that you're out of line, that does not actually end. I mean, it leads you to a path where you can. Yeah, there's a double renegade there where you can take it, but no, I really don't want to do that.
Liara, why would you think that?
Scuttlebutt says you got a bit of a thing for her. I could understand why. The crew's off limits with the regs against fraternization. And at least she looks like a woman.
Same deal here.
You think I'm interested in Liara because she's the only one I'm allowed to date?
So you are interested in her. Of course, it could be politics. Alien diplomat's daughter, us under orders to make nice with the bug-eyed monsters. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on Family Mail.
Chief, should you be that casual with your commanding officer?
Sorry, Commander. Too much in the family mindset. My sisters and I have always been close. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Did your father serve with the fleet?
Yeah, took any crap posting he could get that offered space time. You know what? He worked his ass off trying to get recognized, but he never made it above serviceman 3rd class. He was real proud when I made Chief. First thing he did was salute.
What about your mother? You haven't mentioned her.
You must know what military wives are like. Strong because they have to be, able to raise kids while dad's away on a 6-month cruise. She has a degree in planetary geology. She and Dad both wanted to see new worlds. She gave up her career to raise us, though.
You have more than one sister? Sounds like a big family.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, then Abby, then Lynn. Sarah's the youngest. She's still in high school. With 4 girls, Dad used to say he felt more outnumbered at home than on maneuvers.
Where did you grow up?
All over. Same as you, I expect. We transferred a half a dozen times before I finished grade school. You go where personnel command sends you, right? I guess that's why I'm so tight with my sisters. We'd have to leave all our friends every 2 or 3 years.
Next you'll tell me you all ran across green fields singing show tunes.
Don't knock show tunes. I might have to take exception. Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vidmails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen Hellwire away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
The male pursues the female. That's their nature. In the genes.
They're gonna keep their genes on around my sisters. Unless they want to get up close and personal with pruning shears. Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Why didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand-to-hand.
Sarah couldn't have been fond of you escorting her.
Embarrassed the hell out of her. But it was worth it in the end. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
She cracked him in the face. Good.
When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was gonna end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
So this does not end the relationship when you tell her this story was pointless, but notice how I start my response here. This will tie back to that thing back with Liar when she said that her story wasn't very interesting.
You were right about one thing. That wasn't interesting. And where was your father during all this?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments. This
is a slightly strange one. I mean, all of these proceed with the conversation. This is not like there's stuff on the left which, you know, continues to probe with more information, stuff on the right that advances. Everything advances here, with one exception. I mean, one thing that's a little different. This board now, this will actually skip a particular line of dialogue, which will then cause the military doctrine codex to not drop here. Yet again, you have a place where you, based on what you pick, you may or may not get codex from it. I don't know why that is, but everything else does, and in fact, this one doesn't affect the relationship either.
Poetry? You gonna bore the enemy to death, Marine?
Doubt it'll work on Geth, but I'll give it a shot. Just like to remember why we fight. Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Yeah, I like that response where she says, you know, like, I like to remember why we fight. I think that's a pretty good response. This is again why I'm enjoying taking renegade options here, and this also doesn't affect the relationship.
He must have been a very boring man.
He also brewed his own beer and played a mean baritone sax. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though. So behave.
He's not a zombie, is he?
You know, from heaven, wherever that is. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Again, this is one where you have basically 5 options to advance the story, and oddly enough, usually neutral gives you a quick way without more dialogue. Usually it's Paragon Renegade that gives you a little extra dialogue, but for whatever reason, neutral here is the way to get a slightly more dialogue. I think that's the one I'm going to pick. Yeah, the Renegade here do not affect the relationship, so pick freely if you like.
Your beliefs are your business. I'm your commanding officer, not your moral compass.
Just my commanding officer, huh? We'll have to see about that.
So yeah, these 3 choices only come up if you pick that one neutral response, which is unique.
We're on duty here, Williams.
Too bad. I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
So yeah, we were pretty renegade there, but you can see by the can we talk option not appearing here, that means we're still in the relationship with her. So yeah, you know, in a way, the reason I like, the reason Daniel justifies being more renegade with Ashley is due to the way she says at the beginning of this, you know, I thought you'd be chatting up Liara. You know, Scuttlebutt says you have a thing for her. I think, I don't know, this feels to me a renegade chat with her in this conversation just fits with that, the way she opened up that. So anyway, this is how of course we ask her about the mission itself.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
I think she's being straight with us. Or at least, I don't think she lies very often.
Yeah, she's probably really bad at it. Hey, want me to ask her about her sex life? Might be illuminating.
I think we've already been down that road with her.
Is that the best way to spend your time, Chief?
I read you, Commander. I'll behave. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
All right.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to it, Skipper.
And I think before she said, looking forward to it, Shepard, or looking forward to it, sir, and now it's Skipper. So I think she's feeling very comfortable around us now.
Commander, good to see you.
You've been with CSEC a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
I'll bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember the Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating them?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the psychos. I remember this one L-Corps diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs, had the station in a bit of a panic. But this case wasn't that clear-cut. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
Were you listening to that? An Elcor diplomat hacking people up and selling parts? I mean, remember back when we first met the Elcor? The ambassador was telling Zeltin, don't do anything rash. Okay, now we know that Elcor actually can do things that are rash. Oh, yay.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage. It doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000 for a full set. Somebody's making a killing out there.
What did you do about the geneticist?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation, to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
You mean threaten? Was that really necessary?
Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it paid off. One of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up, and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes. Walking, living test tubes.
He was growing parts inside these people?
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. He just used them to make more organs, but they wouldn't listen.
Here I'm going to agree with Garrus's renegade side just because the conversation flows so much better.
No wonder you hated it there. Those idiots just let him fly away.
Yes, they did. I went to Palin and told him what I thought of him and his policies. He said if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, I almost did. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
And here I think is the spot where the game's going to track how, whether you're guiding him along a more Paragon route or embracing his renegade side. So of course we gotta stay true.
If you don't care about the fate of those hostages, then you're no better than he is. You're just a terrorist with a badge.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It doesn't make it any easier, but I see your point. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salion?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find him.
And again, we get another assignment out of this. This time, Garrus find Dr. Salion. Garrus told you about his encounter with Dr. Salion, the geneticist. He regrets letting him escape the first time and hopes that you'll be able to track him down and bring him to justice. Garrus gave you the coordinates to Dr. Salion's last known whereabouts. Head to the Herschel system in the Kepler Verge. It's another system we haven't been to yet. Yeah. Looks like the aliens are starting to, except for Liara, is starting to give us work to do, which of course we're always happy to do. One thing, I know we're continue to get codex here. Yeah, so this is the one we just got from Garrus. He's talking, in this one it talks about their, well, I'll just read some of this. Although life on Palaven is carbon-based and oxygen-breathing, it is built on dextro amino acids. This places the Turians in a distinct minority on the galactic stage. The Quarians are the only other known sapient dextro-protein race. The feud of humans, Asari, or Solarians who evolved in a levo amino acid-based biospheres will at best pass through the Turian systems without providing any nutrition. At worst, it will trigger an allergic reaction that can be fatal if not immediately treated. So when we met that Turian, Novaria, that said that he could go for a donut, I assume that dextro protein food includes donuts, because if he was talking about our donuts, he would have gotten very sick. Alright, also Krogan culture, another one I don't want to read all together, although I do like it here at the end. The surviving Krogan see no point to building for the future. There will be no future. The Krogan live with an attitude of kill, pillage, and be selfish, for tomorrow we die. I mean, I read all these, quite a while ago. I mean, like when I first started playing the game, which is now more than 2 years ago, and I had forgotten a lot of this stuff. So, it's pretty neat to read it again. I do recommend it. I don't think there was anything here I wanted to mention. This is one we got from Ashley. So, anyway. Just one more to talk to in the back.
Shepard, I'm glad you're here.
Good to see you smiling again, so to speak.
I'm sleeping much better now. I guess I'm getting used to how quiet your ship is. I still think a lot about my pilgrimage, though. I know Steren's our top priority, but with all the worlds we go to, I was hoping to find something to bring back to the flotilla.
We've still got a long way to go. You'll find something to take back.
Yes, but it cannot just be some derelict ship my people can use for salvage. It has to be more than that. There's a lot expected of me.
Notice that everyone we've chatted with so far has not had this type of exit written like this. I don't have time for this. You're going to see this a lot. I really don't understand the game's inherent anti-Quarian-ness. I mean, I really like Talia, as you have seen. And I don't know, it just strikes me as a little strange here.
What's so special about you?
It's my father. He's the senior member of the Admiralty Board. He's one of only 5 people who can overrule the decisions of the Conclave for the good of the migrant fleet. My father is responsible for the lives of 17 million people. Our entire race is in his hands, and I'm his only child.
So are you some kind of heir to the Quarian throne or something?
No, it doesn't work that way. My father's position isn't hereditary. I'll probably never serve on the Admiralty Board myself. Officially, I'm just the same as any other citizen. But it doesn't work that way in practice. People have always treated me differently because of who my father is.
You must get all kinds of special privileges.
I probably had it easier than most growing up, but it's not all good. People like my father have enemies, and they're not above using me to get to him.
It must be tough on you.
My people place a high value on family and ancestry. There's an unspoken expectation that I'll live up to my father's example. Everyone's waiting for me to do something great on my pilgrimage, something that will forever change our lives for the better. If I don't, it's like I failed, and that reflects badly on both me and my father.
The work you're doing here is more important than anything any Quarian has ever done before.
Yes, I know. But you have to understand Quarian culture. We're a very insular society. The events beyond the flotilla don't much matter to the average citizen. Our greatest dream is that one day we'll return to our homeworld and drive out the Geth. But even if we stop Seren, that's not going to happen. There's still millions of Geth behind the veil. Until they're gone, our exile will continue.
What would you need to bring back to make everyone happy?
Something that would help us better understand the Geth. They've changed significantly since the exile. They've continued to evolve. We've done our best to study them, but it's not easy. They're very reclusive. Until recently, they never went beyond the borders of the Veil. And all the Geth we run into now are under Saren's control. We'd need to find Geth operating on their own, independently. But I don't want this to get in the way of our mission, Shepard. First, we stop Saren. Then I'll worry about my own problems.
That sure sounds like a new assignment to me. We're going to find out in a moment. Although if we go into this investigate, you can see we have another new option here.
What was your father like?
It wasn't easy growing up as the daughter of one of the Admiralty. Even before he joined the board, he was a prominent figure. People looked to him for leadership. He had to set an example, and he expected the same of his daughter. Plus, he was pretty strict, a military man through and through. He never allowed me to settle for anything less than excellence. As a kid, I sometimes felt like he was pushing me too hard. But now I'm old enough to appreciate what he taught me. The world doesn't owe us anything. If we want something in life, we have to earn it.
Sounds like a tough upbringing. You don't resent your father at all?
Like I said, it wasn't easy. My father's not the kind of person you bond with, and he wasn't around all that much. Too busy. People counted on him, and he took his duties seriously. Even when he was around, he always seemed a bit distant, like his mind was always somewhere else. Come to think of it, I can't ever remember seeing him smile. Not once. It's like he was always weighed down by all that responsibility. I mean, I know he cares about me, but he never really showed it, not in the usual way. I guess the best thing I can say about my father is that I respect him.
Where was your mother in all this?
Mother was around, but she always seemed to kind of blend into the background. Almost like she was overshadowed by my father. He tends to do that to people. She passed on about 5 years ago. Some airborne virus that swept through the fleet. Happens sometimes when the filters start to break down. I think my father took it pretty hard. After she was gone, he became even more focused on his work. I think that was his way of dealing with the grief.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
See you later.
I think that's the last time that Tali has a lot of stuff to add. So we got another couple entries here. Quarian's Law and Defense. I don't think there's anything here I needed to mention. It was fairly interesting, the whole how they handle like crimes and stuff and trials and all that. We need to reread all that again. And religion. This part, some of this was somewhat interesting to me. Yeah, so early on when we talked to Tali, the thing we learned about is that the Geth they become sentient, but not deliberately. They were created as basically machines to do mundane tasks, and they just made small evolutionary, very subtle changes that they didn't really think would ever result in an AI species emerging. But if you look at this entry here, you can see that they basically revered their elders. But they wanted to basically, well, first they preserved, the recordings basically of elders, things that were said or written probably in this repository of knowledge, kind of like the Encyclopedia Galactica from Foundation series in a way probably. But where is it? Yeah, so the Quarians began exhaustive research into creating artificial intelligence so they could learn to escape the bounds of mortality and give their ancestral records true awareness. So here's a spot where they were deliberately doing AI research, and why didn't the council come in here? I mean, maybe, presumably this would have been long before the Geth came along, maybe before they even knew that there was before they reached out and found the council and knew that there was a big galactic community. The timeline here isn't really known, but you would think that from this experience, maybe they would have thought, okay, let's be careful here with these Geth, because we know what can happen here. And then also I found it very interesting that the life the Quarians created for these elders, basically, the recorded elders, did not accept the same truths that the actual elders themselves did. Which, I don't know, I just really found that fascinating. So yeah, when you watch me, I mean, when I start the Mass Effect 2, I'm going to be going through codex like crazy. I probably won't record any of it because I'll be wanting to read and reread stuff and absorb it and really understand what's going on there. But again, I am deliberately kind of reading through the codex here as I go along in between episodes, just to at least remember where the game, this game particularly, has stood on things. We'll see if things change, evolve over time. Anyway, I just don't have enough money to pick up a couple more Spectre guns real quick.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
There's probably nothing else here, because we're going to go and get those Tier 3 licenses. I want another assault rifle and another shotgun. And no, I didn't think I'd see anything else I wanted here. That almost bankrupts me again, but we're about to head to the Citadel, so we'll be able to do the round of selling. Let's see, I want to give Tali the shotgun I just picked up, because she's earned the right to carry one, of course. And sure, why not? And then I want to give, I think it's Ashley that doesn't have these. Yeah, so give her the sniper rifle, because she's going to need it. You know what? I'm going to do all this part offline real quick. In fact, I got to give Liara some stuff too. So let me cut all this out real fast and get through this right now. Okay, we finished. We're in pretty good shape, and everything else I don't, everything that's still sitting in the inventory, I can sell for the most part. And there's one more thing we need to do. Let's see something that occurs right here.
Good timing, Commander. We got a transmission coming in from the Citadel. Top priority clearance.
I'll take it in the comm room.
This will be the Council calling us. And unfortunately, unlike the other times we talked to the Council, we can't hang up on them.
Commander Shepard, we've received information that may be critical to your mission against Saren.
Well, we can be mean to them, although in this case there's a couple of free Paragon up here, so why not?
I'll take all the help I can get.
We've received an urgent message from one of our infiltration regiments in the Traverse.
You mean spies?
Spectres tend to attract attention, Commander, but they are only one arm of the Council. Special task groups are often a better option for monitoring developing situations.
We currently have several infiltration units scattered throughout the border regions of Citadel space. This particular unit was gathering intel on Saren.
I don't like being kept in the dark.
We can't have you racing around the galaxy chasing false leads, Commander. We only contacted you because we feel this may be significant.
Unfortunately, the message we received was little more than static. The infiltration team must be in a situation where they can't set up proper interstellar communications. But the message was sent on a channel reserved for mission-critical communications. Whatever they were trying to tell us, we know it was important. Considering your interest in Saren, we thought you might want to investigate this. Find out what happened to our team. The signal originated from the planet Vermeer.
A missing infiltration team's not my problem. Clean up your own mess.
That unit may have sacrificed their lives to get this message out. Saren is up to something on Vermeer. You'd see that if it weren't for your stubborn human pride.
And this is worth a couple of free Renegade points.
I will find Saren, but I'm doing it my way.
The Council prefers not to become involved in the specifics of Spectre activities. We only want you to be aware of all your options, including Vermeer. Good luck, Commander Shepard. We will keep you advised if we learn anything else.
All kinds of rewards there, and a couple of new codex entries, of course. The one that's...
Pharos is a habitable...
Yeah,
Vermeer is a lush world located on the frontier of the Attican...
Okay, it's definitely worth reading about, but I don't want to listen to that right now. The thing that is of interest to me is the Solarian Task Group. I should get some mention here. That's the other one we picked up. And the thing I like here is the STGs are often willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their mission, even if it kills civilians and results in the team's own destruction. In many ways, they are akin to the Council Spectres. So yeah, that's pretty neat. I hadn't really thought of it that way because we only really deal with the one STG, and that's Kira. He's seen much later in the game, and they just don't. I don't know. They just don't feel like Spectres to me. But once you kind of read up on them and see what it is, kinds of things that they get themselves involved in, yeah, It definitely fits. Alright. We're pretty much ready to move on here. I think, yeah, I think we're free to just... I'll go ahead and bring us over to Citadel now. One thing I did not do while we were exploring through Artemis Tau is go through the connection of all the names of these planets and systems, but it's pretty clear what's going on here, right? Pretty much everything in this entire cluster is ancient Greek references. Pretty cool. But I really am pretty weak when it comes to the ancient Greek lore. I've never really spent the time to study it, and I bet it would be fascinating. Anyway, it's a 3-hop to the Citadel. And honestly, I think this music we're listening to in the map, this is the first music we've heard this entire episode. I think, for whatever reason, when you save right after Therum back in that comm room, it loads up again with no music. That's weird. Alright, so we've not yet taken Liara with us anywhere, and so in previous Citadel runs I have been able to capture most of the unique dialogue with different squad mates. But Liara, of course, is missing, so I want to go and capture that. And Tali, Miss Tali is one of the only squad mates I have that has no good armor, so let's go ahead and take her as well. See if we can find some armor for her.
Equalizing interior pressure with exterior atmosphere. Logged. The commanding officer is ashore. Exo Presley has the deck.
Alright, I'm gonna basically just have park us outside the ship here so we can break here. Yes, definitely be leveling people up next episode. And we got some other assignments to attend to here. And I think this will probably be the last time we manually bring ourselves to the Citadel, so we're definitely gonna make the most of it. Alright, so we'll pick up the story from right here.